Sleep is something that we take for granted. When we're sleeping well, we don't even think about it. We go to bed and fairly soon after our head hits the pillow, we just drift off to sleep, and maybe we have to get up in the night, but we sleep right the way through until we wake or the alarm wakes us. And possibly we enjoy really lovely sleep when we've been out in the fresh air, been doing exercise, walking in the countryside or by the sea. And it's just lovely, that lovely tired feeling when you just drift away because you're relaxed and calm. What we don't realise is sleep is just not something we have to do and something that we can do easily and often enjoy. Sleep is absolutely fundamental to how we're feeling on a day-to-day basis. So if we're struggling to get to sleep, we tend to start thinking, oh my goodness, I've got to be up at 7 o'clock and I've been lying here for an hour and I'm still not asleep. So, I don't know what to do. And we may go on lying there. We may decide to get up and do something else and see if we can go back to sleep, read a book. I know people who get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and do the ironing. You can't do noisy housework, but just because it seems such a waste of time, you're lying there, you can't get to sleep, but, you're lying there, you can't get to sleep, and you might as well get up and do something useful. And then, of course, there are the after effects. The day after one bad night's sleep is probably okay. They do say that actually it's the second day that's worse. But if you're having repeated poor nights of sleep, repeated nights of lying awake or getting up and doing something, or going off to sleep but waking frequently, or struggling to go to sleep, whatever your problem is, if it's going on night after night after night, you're not getting enough sleep and you're not getting the right quality of sleep. And this begins to have effects during the day. I am impossible to be with when I'm tired. My family learned to keep well clear if I was tired and I hadn't been sleeping well for a while. And that's true of most people. We can't cope with things in the way that we normally can. We're easily upset or angry. The longer it goes on, the less efficient we are, the less able to do all the things that we have to do as an employee, as a parent, as a partner, as a friend. And life becomes very dreary. It's just a question of pushing through each day, trying to do what has to be done. And typically I find worrying about what sort of sleep I'm going to get tonight. So guess what? If you think constantly during the day, will I get a decent night's? Oh, I hope I get a decent night's sleep tonight. Oh, please, I need some decent sleep. Then, of course, as exhausted as you are, when you go to bed, you don't go to sleep. Or you go to sleep because you're exhausted and wake up fairly quickly, and then you can't get back to sleep and you're back in the same old pattern. And life just gets worse and worse. I don't know. I've worked with people who have gone years on minute amounts of sleep, and I just don't know how they do it. What I do know is that it affects their ability to enjoy life, to have fun, to be the person that they want to be. It is absolutely crucial to how you're feeling, how you're behaving, how you're thinking, and can lead to mental, emotional, and physical issues, because We need to sleep. We need to sleep at least 7 hours a night, and we need that sleep to be good quality most of the time. We can all cope with the odd night when maybe something has happened and we struggle to sleep. We can all cope with the odd night when we've enjoyed ourselves a bit too much and maybe haven't had the best sleep. But being able to live the life we want to live on 2 to 3 hours sleep year after year is just not possible. People do it. I talk to people who do it, but they'd really rather not. So what can we do about poor sleep? As with everything that I work on, I always say to people, tackle it sooner rather than later. If it happens, more than once or twice, if you can see a pattern beginning to develop, then take action. Now, obviously, you can go to your doctor and get sleeping tablets. They generally don't give them that early, and many people prefer not to take them. I've only ever had sleeping tablets when I was in hospital or after coming out of hospital, and I found that they didn't make me better the next day. I just sort of felt foggy and drowsy and not really quite with it the next day. Now, things might have improved since then, and it's obviously your choice, but that is typically what will happen if you talk to your doctor about your sleep. Practical things you can do are, firstly, be very careful with the use of electronic devices, and I'm sure it's talked about enough. I'm sure you know this, but it's worth a reminder. Stop them as early in the evening as you can, but certainly 2-3 hours before you go to sleep. Stop looking at your phone, your tablet, your laptop, whatever. Stop engaging on social media, because Sod's Law says you will hit an unpleasant post and that'll set your mind going, and then you're on the negative path to poor sleep, no sleep again. But there's also something to do with the light. So it's advisable not to watch television in bed as a way of helping you get to sleep. I know it's tempting because, you think, oh, well, I'm not sitting in the chair and I'm tired and I fall asleep in front of the television, and then as soon as I go to bed, I can't go to sleep. So maybe if I'm watching the television in bed, but it may help you to get to sleep, but again, it's quality as well as quantity that's important. So avoid television in the bedroom, avoid electronic devices, certainly in the bedroom, and for a few hours before you go to bed. Put them away, put them on charge somewhere where you can't get at them. I have worked at home on and off over the years, and particularly now I run my own business, and I have learnt the hard way that working late, and I am a night owl, so that's easier for me. Working late is not good. You cannot stop working, get into bed and expect to go to sleep. So even though I might work till 8:30, 9 o'clock in the evening, I do make sure that I have time for a break before I go to bed. Caffeine is another problem, as is alcohol. Now, alcohol is an interesting one because I don't know about you, but if I've had an enjoyable evening and had a few drinks, then I find I go to sleep very easily. I also find I wake up typically about 4 o'clock in the morning, depends when I went to bed, and I can't get back to sleep. And all sorts of weird and wonderful things are running through my head, worrying about things that are not worth the effort and certainly not worth the loss of sleep. So alcohol for me is not a good idea. Caffeine for me is, I will tend to have my last, usually a cup of tea, late afternoon, latest at 6 o'clock. I have a dip around 4 to 6 and I feel quite tired then. So often a cup of tea with caffeine is good for me, but not any later than that. The other thing is to set up a regular sleep routine. So what do I mean by that? Well, a regular sleep routine is doing the same things in the same order every single night. And these can be the things you would normally do. So they can include, washing your face, cleaning your teeth, reading in bed, whatever are the normal things you can do. And you can maybe add in some other things. So taking a warm bath, having a warm drink, caffeine free. I, like many people, have struggled over this past year with my sleep on and off. And I drink good quality chamomile tea every night. So having a sleep routine that says, I go upstairs, I get undressed, I clean my teeth, wash my face, or maybe have a nice warm bath, have a drink of something that helps me to sleep, read a book, keep away from the technology. So that would be a typical sleep routine. And the repetitiveness of it, the fact that you do the same thing every evening before going to bed, your brain and your body begin to realize that these steps that you're doing one after the other mean it's time to relax, it's time to go to sleep. So it helps create a sleep habit. When I have done step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, when I put my book down, turn out the light, then my brain and my body know that's it, it's time for sleep. If all of these things don't help or don't help enough, there are things that I can do to help with sleep, things that any hypnotherapist can do, but I do. My approach is with somebody with sleep problems. Firstly, I give them a sleep recording. Now, you can find these all over the internet. If I'm working with a client, I like them to use my sleep recording because they will be under hypnosis with me in their sessions, so they will get very used to the sound of my voice. So the sleep recording will be more effective, I believe. So step 1 is a sleep recording. Now, I warn people not to expect miracles. Miracles can and do happen, but don't expect them. Expect it to help relax you. Expect it to make slight improvements to your sleep. Don't expect to listen to the recording once and go to sleep for 8 hours without waking and have a really good quality sleep. As I say, miracles do happen, but I'd rather warn people that they don't happen every single time. What we're trying to do is to change a habit of poor sleeping that you have got into for whatever reason. Typically, it may be something's happened, you've had poor sleep, and then it just becomes what you do. So for me, I start with the recording. I will then teach them, normally in their second session, I will teach them self-hypnosis. I will suggest that they practice it for at least a week because it is a learnable skill, just like riding a bike or driving a car for that matter. And then suggest that they try using self-hypnosis instead of the recording to help them get to sleep, knowing that if the self-hypnosis doesn't work any particular night, they can always switch back to the recording. I have more than one sleep recording, so I have one that is very relaxing from the beginning. I have another one that meets people where they are if they're very agitated or got a very busy mind or an overwhelmed mind. So it meets them in that sort of state and gradually brings them down from that to a more relaxed state where they can drift off to sleep. So there are choices in the recordings as well. If one doesn't work, we can try another. And then I will probably work on anything that may have caused them to sleep badly. There may be something that they're worrying about now. There may be stuff in the past that has caused them to have some level of anxiety or stress that is still having an effect on their sleep. There may be things they're worrying about in the future. So we will look for what else is going on that is disturbing their sleep. and deal with that in an appropriate way. So I find, I can help people improve their sleep, and in many cases dramatically improve their sleep or change their sleep. And I have had one example recently which has even amazed me. I was working with a group of people with a fear of needles, and in the first session in the group program, I teach them self-hypnosis so they can start practicing it, because it means I can give them homework after the second session to practice what we're doing on the needle phobia. And one of the people in the group, I mean, I knew she didn't sleep well, but I didn't know it was quite as bad as it was. So I taught them self-hypnosis. They practiced it while we were together online in the group. She then, because it had made her feel very sleepy when she practiced it, she decided she would do it before she went to bed that night. And this person who had slept 2 or 3 hours a night for years, we're talking 6, 7, 8, 9 years, had 8 hours good sleep. And that was several months ago, and she is still sleeping well, getting 8 to 9 hours of sleep every night. There have been a couple of blips where something has happened. She has health problems, and there's been a couple of issues that have caused her to have a bad night or 2 bad nights. But she's been able to get back into the sleeping pattern using self-hypnosis. Now, that's the best I've ever done, and it was pretty much accidental. We weren't working on sleep at all, but that is what is possible with hypnosis and with hypnotherapy. So if you are struggling with poor sleep, doesn't matter whether it's, for a few weeks, months or years, please do seek some help. And I would suggest, obviously, you're very free to contact me. I can work on Zoom or face-to-face, or contact, if you prefer, a hypnotherapist near you if you want to see somebody face-to-face and you don't live near me. But the most important thing is to take some action, not to let it continue. I can list all the effects it has on you physically. You're much more likely to die early if you have poor sleep. So there's a whole long list of things that can happen. I'm not a medical person, and I'm not focusing on the physical effects, but they are there. And I'm very, very aware of the mental and emotional effects, the inability to think clearly, to focus, to get things done in the speed in which you would normally do them, the inability to deal with the ups and downs of life, the tendency to be a bit short-tempered or a bit emotional and tearful, and to just worry more about everything, because we lose our resilience when we don't sleep and we can't cope with the normal things of life, and the abnormal, if you like, the occasional blips, as I call them, are just push us over the edge. So, if your sleep is poor, for however long it's been poor, take some action, talk to a hypnotherapist, talk to me, and let's get it sorted. Okay.